Kia ora, good evening. It's just only a couple of hours away from midnight, so I need to keep my voice down. But I've been watching some videos on YouTube about people who keep waiting for the rapture, because the rapture, the biblical rapture, and I don't even know what to say. The fact that I even have to make this video is kind of even a little bit embarrassing, but I just wanted to put it out there, like, people know that the rapture isn't like you're going to float off like balloons into the clouds, right? Like, that's not literally what's going to happen. That's not what the rapture is. Like, you have to understand that the Bible isn't a picture book. So they have to use words to describe what it is. And you're talking about, a couple of thousand years ago where they talked differently. And the Bible has been translated so much over the last couple of thousand years. There's a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of misinterpretations, and like a lot of Chinese whispers downright misconstrued lies, discombobulation and all that, more than actual fact and truth that exists in the Bible. And the stuff that is real, like the 30% that is real, is mind-blowing. So you have to use a bit of artistic, creative license when you're reading the Bible and not take it so literally, because God is theatrical and, likes to take centre stage and be all dramatic and all of that. So, it's for cause and effect. It's to, like, make it all dramatic so that he can put his point across, to make an impact, to let everybody know, yes, I am here, I have arrived, this is me in all my glory, and you should worship me because, like, I'm worth it and I'm cool, and let me show you how this is really done. Let me work my magic, so to speak. That's God. Like, he's a sight to behold. And when you know him for who he really is, the love that you have for him takes you to a higher place. The word ascend means to rise. And the rapture is the ascension process. It's the mass conscious awakening. It is people across the globe finally waking up all at once at the exact same time and finally getting it and going, wow, that's who God is. That's what this is all about. This is what I'm trying to show you on my social media. I'm trying to say to people, look how cool God is. Look what he's allowed me to do. Could you imagine if everybody did the work on themselves and everybody stood together and stopped fighting, letting the dark side that rule us like puppets, calling themselves world leaders and, popes and all, but politicians and, prime ministers, presidents, whatever, businessmen, corporate CEOs, billionaires, millionaires, whatever. The people that think they have the right to lord it over the little guy, the herd. They consider us herd, by the way, like cows. So when people finally realise that we've all been played, that people like Donald Trump and Netanyahu and Starmer and all of that, Carney, von der Leyen and Zelensky and that, when people finally realise that they're not who they say they are and actually they're really dark, evil, twisted people who have been lying to us for decades, when people finally realise, holy shit, they're trying to force us to eat humans and steal our children and poison our planet and that just so that they can have everything to themselves, when people wake up and realise that climate change is a lie, when people wake up and finally realise that you've been in the Matrix, everybody wakes up together. There's like a mass awakening, a mass conscious opening of the mind, and everybody becomes elated because one of the symptoms of an ascension is elation. You feel deep, true, compassionate love. You become more patient and tolerant because you see things in a completely different way, because you finally get it. And once you're able to see past the bullshit, once you're able to see where the evil is, you know exactly what to do to avoid it. And it is just to keep walking towards the light. Just keep focusing on the stuff that makes you feel better. Because when you do that, you get closer and closer to God. And when you end up having the kind of relationship with Him that I do, it's like ecstasy. It's pure, mind-blowing, overwhelming, powerful, light, engaging energy that it raises your spirits. It lifts your soul. You can never be pushed down again. You can't get things like depression and that ever again, because every time you start to falter, His light turns on and raises you up and reminds you what's waiting for you on the other side when you finally do land. And that's the rapture. That's what the rapture is. It's a mass conscious awakening that causes a mass ascension across the globe. That's the birth of the new world. And I've been trying to show you, on my social media, I've been trying to prove it to you, because my science, quantum magnetics, and my work on the ascension theory and all that, like, I'm giving you examples of what you become when you have a relationship with God, with the power of the atom, with the 14 points of that star. When you can plug into all of those 14 points, you end up like me. Although we would all have different gifts, but depending on your star signs, I'd probably be able to work it out more than likely what your X-Men superpowers would be technically, because God says, when at the end of your ascension, if you master your virtues and add hope and faith, you're guaranteed supernatural powers at the end. Like, it's in the Bible, it's in the scrolls and everything. So I think I've even got it on my Instagram. So yeah, I'm trying to prove that it's all real. But the thing is, because the universe works on the laws of karmic balance, what's happening is, as there's a mass awakening and everybody goes, huh? Oh my God, like, oh wow. And it's so much simpler than, like, we've made all of this sort of thing so complicated over the last few thousand years that there's been so misguided misinterpretation of what it was. People were literally making themselves look crazy, literally taking the Bible for its written word, taking these scriptures and that for its written word. And the universe takes you on your every word, and your first word is the one that gets stamped into the fabric of your timeline. forever. So you have to be very careful what you say and what you do, you know. And there are people out there that are saying the most horrendous things that have created the downfall of the dark side. Because, like I said, karmic balances. The universe has to balance itself out in order to evolve. You know, it's like driving a car. You can only put so much pressure on the accelerator and the brake. It's all about balances and evens and, you know, making sure that everything runs smoothly. Evolution is the exact same thing. The ascension process is the exact same thing. But so is the descension process. And what's happening is, as everybody else is like getting it and rising above it all and seeing it for what it is, and having a mass conscious awakening, and their minds expanding and blowing wide open, and them stepping into realms that they only thought was like in sci-fi movies and video games and stuff. Well, they get to live that life. We're also going to see the opposite side, and we're starting to see it now. As soon as Donald Trump and Keir Starmer go, all of the rest of them are going to start dropping like flies. So be prepared for the fact that you're going to see a lot of people. I'm seeing it with people like Seth Rogen. There's people like him. The sign of the new generation, the new representatives of the ancestors, like stepping into the new world, the new way of thinking. You know, like just saying, for example, with Seth Rogen, you know, he's a Jewish guy who's watching all of this stuff happen in Israel, and he's utterly ashamed. So it's like the world is going to be, the new world is going to be made up of people representing their people fairly, in a just and balanced way, that they can look at something that their people are doing, whether it's their religion, their neighbours, their family, their community, their president, their mayor, whoever, when they look at their people committing sins and being corrupt and stuff like that, they have the right to judge them fairly. And if, you know, and admitting that corruption is corruption, like, you know, understanding that it looks bad on everyone if everybody in that community supports each other's corruptions, which is what we have with world leaders and that today. But the thing is, juxtaposed to what I'm trying to teach, and I'm up against people like Santaro and my ex's cult and all that, you know, all these frauds out there, while I'm the good one up against people like that, all the corrupt ones on that side of things. You got people like Vladimir Putin who have been put in the dark side category because he's forced to deal with all the people that he's trying to stand up against. He has to deal with people like that. But he's the good guy. And he's trying to show the world, especially up and coming countries that are fighting corruption and that sort of thing. He's trying to show them how you can be strong and firm and set your boundaries with powers like NATO and that, while still being fair and doing the right thing by everyone, even when you're up against the lies and the accusations and the propaganda and, you know, the corruption and the theft of, you know, those sanctions and all. Like, they are trying to knock him into the ground. These devils and demons are absolutely trying to knock him into the ground, thinking send him to hell, but that's not where he belongs. He was sent down there to clean up the mess, because he's the only one that has the guts to do it. He's the only one with the balls big enough to do it. God trusted him with with that job, which is why at the end of it, his reward will be that he gets to build the new Holy Land. He gets the new Jerusalem. God loves him that much. God trusts him. So I've been trying to show everyone who he really is, and how favoured he is by God, by the gods, by, a lot of cultures' gods, because he's carried a lot of weight on his back that was forced on him, and he's pretty much been left to do it on his own, although I have been helping him carry some of the load, because that's what we're all supposed to do. And people need to see that the second, like if you take your rose tinted glasses off, if you can get away from all the lies and just look at what I'm saying in regards to the ascension and what's coming for us all in the future, and who Vladimir Putin really is, we will open like a massive energetic portal. We will open up like a massive gateway energetically, because everyone will go, oh my God, wow, we have so been seeing this the wrong way. Flip it upside down and, flip it upside down and see it for what it really is. The rapture, when you look at the paintings of the rapture, with it often will show like the clouds parting and a beam of light coming down and everyone rising up. That's the gateway opening. That's the portal opening. And when we step through that, when we actually, quote unquote, literally in the Bible, see the light, that is all of us stepping into a world of peace, falling through the portal, stepping through the portal. That's what the rapture is like. When you see the paintings and the clouds open up, that's actually a portal. That's the energetic portal that can only be opened with a mass conscious awakening. And we can only have a mass conscious awakening if we all see the light and the truth of the situation. When we see the truth of reality for what it actually is, that's the birth of the new world, and nothing will ever be the same again. People will have jobs, people will have homes, people will have food, people won't be answering to corruption, and we like it all. That what we've experienced for the last couple of thousand years will no longer exist. It's not to say that that everything's going to be perfect. We're still going to have crimes, and we're still going to have people, being dicks in that sometimes. But the thing is, we'll deal with it the right way. It'll all be dealt with the right way, because the only people that are going to step into the new world are the people who are smart enough to understand that the only way we're going to sort this stuff out is if we can compromise for the sake of peace and balance. Like, let's be grown-ups, okay? We might not like it, but let's be grown-ups. All right, they committed a crime, but let's be fair. Like, you complain about prisons being overcrowded and stuff, but you've sent people to prison for like 10, 15, 20, 25, 50 years for smoking a joint. I mean, is that fair, just, and balanced? No. So some people get executed for it. I mean, for God's sakes. And then they wonder why they're not powerhouse nations and that sort of thing. But the only way we're going to get this right this time around is if we can all agree to disagree and not be so dramatic about it. That's going to be the balance of how we deal with stepping into the new world and, with what's coming. So, the rapture, guys, can we not take this so seriously? Like, it's not literal. And if you don't understand anything, that's what I'm here for. So, when I get my radio show, my radio station and that, I'll be able to have these conversations, and you can ring up and, we can talk. And so, the thing is, people need to understand, by misunderstanding things, by getting stuff wrong, especially when it comes to the supernatural, the psychological, the occult, there's cause and effect. And by having so many centuries of getting stuff wrong, this is why we've gotten to this point. This is our karma for getting the last few millennia wrong, pretty much. God warned us. We had enough warnings. The end of the world. I mean, that there was going to be a judgment day and all of that. Like, we're at that point because we didn't listen to the warnings. And as I keep saying on my social media, you didn't listen. Why didn't you listen? So, unfortunately, I've been watching a lot of this on YouTube. I can see why a lot of people thought I was crazy, because there are so many people out there not trying to be me, but thinking they're like one of the chosen. But the thing is, I can actually prove it. You can't just go around saying these things without actually proving it. And the thing is that I had the evidence there, but I was up against people that didn't want to see the truth. And so I've had to do all of this to prove my innocence, to prove that I'm not like the rest of them. Like Vladimir. I'm not like them. I'm nothing like them. Stop saying that I'm like them or worse than them. Just because I'm down here having to deal with that bullshit, it doesn't mean I'm like them. I'm here to, he's like the broom trying to sweep out the darkness to clear the path for the new world. He's cleaning house, so to speak, to rid Europe and that of evil. Child killers and, sex offenders and pedophiles and cannibals and blood drinkers and that. Like, and the thing is, this is what people need to understand. It is out there and it is being ignored, but it can't be ignored because the evidence speaks for itself. It can't be denied. But people are denying that this stuff is real. If people just went, okay, look, we just have to admit that we are literally in seeing evidence of hell on earth and these demons and devils running, like, it can't be denied. There are people doing some really dark things out there in the world, and we're brushing it off because they come with a title of president or prime minister or von der Leyen or whatever, billionaire. But if we just started arresting them all, if we all just went screw it, like the judges, like the cops and that, not being afraid anymore, if they all just went screw it, we've got to arrest them, we've got to start arresting them. The only way that we're going to have happy, content lives is if we just actually do our friggin' job and just start arresting them and, screw the threats and, we all have to work together. Because Vladimir can't sweep it up on his own. There's too many of them. they've literally got him backed into a corner with his sanctions and his international arrest warrants and stuff because of lies and corruption and bullshit and propaganda. But you have to be smart enough to ask yourself, but why are they doing it? Who's actually reporting the truth? Who's actually telling the truth? Well, I'm telling the truth because I can prove that I tell the truth. My evidence can't be denied. The stuff that I say can't be denied. That's why people who get me, their minds are just like, wow, like, oh my God, right? So if everybody did that, then the new world begins, and then the children will grow up into the most incredible future because we all decided to work together to clean house. If we all picked up a broom and a mop and a half shovel and brush, and we all helped Vladimir, and you all helped me, we would clean this stuff up a lot faster, and then we'd be making sure that the people who ran our countries were actually worthy of it, because it's an honour and a privilege to be able to speak on behalf of the people, especially if you come from a Commonwealth country, because you have the privilege of being the King's representative or Queen, depending on, I mean, you know what I mean. So, the rapture is people waking up and finally getting it en masse. But I'm trying to help you be a part of that process, which is why I'm what? An ascension scientist. Or, to help you understand it better, maybe I shouldn't call it ascension, I should call it rapture scientist. And then you'll get it. Oh, wow. We've been so wrong. So sorry, Vladimir Putin. Here's all your money back. Here's the war stopped. Oops. Sorry. And he'd be the sort of president that would go, look, okay, it's fine. How about we work together now? He wouldn't be the sort of person that held a grudge, because he's fair and he's just and he's trustworthy and he's logical. And yeah, he wants to make money, but he wants to make money for his country. He's the father to quite a few million people. He's got a lot of kids to feed. He can't do it on his own because he's up against a lot of corruption. So, we all need to chip in. And it starts with us seeing the bigger picture, which is what the rapture is. So, I hope I've explained it all. And, that's all I can say, really. Just keep listening out for me, and when I get my radio station, I'll be able to do a lot more. Help you, I'll walk you through the process. But we'll know when people have started waking up en masse, because he'll start getting the support he deserves. The war will end. He'll get his money back. He'll get everything that's owed to him tenfold. Because all sacrifices come with rewards. And that man has sacrificed more than anybody else on the planet to do the right thing by Ukraine and other European countries, and countries that, like, even he's been trying to protect Great Britain. Nobody ever gives him credit for that. He's, they're threatening to go to war. They're trying to, like Keir Starmer, lying and saying, oh, Russia's did something at Heathrow, and attacks this and drone attacks that, and oh my God, they're getting ready to drop nuclear bombs, and X marks the spot, and blah blah blah, and mass hysteria and all that, and his restraint and his choosing to just mock Keir Starmer, rather than maybe be a leader that was a bit more hot-headed, that might have done something in retaliation to press Starmer's buttons. He hasn't, and in doing that, and him showing restraint, he's kept the king on the throne, and people don't give him credit for that. And I'm trying to do my bit from down here. I'm trying to do my bit to help the king, but oh my God, I am trying. Before I get on the plane and leave, I am trying. I refuse to give up until that plane takes off into the sky. Hope and faith, remember? Master hope and faith. So yeah, I have hope because of my faith that King Charles will wake up and finally dissolve Parliament, and then Great Britain can tear everything down that Blair corrupted, according to the Queen, and rebuild and do it right and respectfully. Have respect for each other. Better than Britain has ever had. You know, like more better. How it used to be, but more better. So yeah. So that's the rapture. I thought I'd explain it, but just remember, with the ascension comes the descension. So prepare yourself for the fact that, you know, as people wake up on a mass conscious level, as we do experience the actual rapture, we're also going to see the opposite effect, where a lot of these bad people are going to start dropping like flies. It'll be just like person after person after person after person after person. Because even the Bible says basically that he opens up the ground and they all fall in together. So that's what we're going to see. And with people like Bill Gates and that, it might even be literally falling out of the sky. We might see a lot of... I shouldn't say that, but yeah, we might see a lot of like rich and famous people, you know, like helicopters and private planes and that sort of thing. God wouldn't take down innocent people. Satan doesn't allow innocent people into hell. But yeah, we might see a lot of rich and famous, powerful people falling out of metal birds, falling out of like multi-story buildings and falling. We might see a lot of it start happening on the news and that, so just get ready for it. That's when you know. So just get ready, people, because yeah, as people rise en masse, darkness will fall en masse, and through the separation, the great divide becomes the tear, and the old world will go one way and the new world will go the other. As the old world falls away and falls out of history, falls away from history, the new world, the new way, creates history. So that's the rapture. So there you go. I'm going to make another coffee and cuddle with my man. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.